Bobby hates everything. Bobby hates, Bobby hates, Bobby hates, Bobby hates everything. Bobby hates everything. Bobby hates, Bobby hates, Bobby hates, Bobby hates everything. Bobby hates.
Hey, what's up there, folks? It's Uncle Bobby B here, and hope you enjoyed that intro song. I just wrote and recorded it, so I'm pretty excited about that. What we're here today for? This is Bobby hates everything, and that's me. And unfortunately, I pretty much hate everything, but I do appreciate stuff. So even if I hate it, I can still appreciate it. I like to call it appreciating. So what we're doing today is we're kicking off this series, and I'm going to be talking about the ins and outs of music and pro wrestling and how they intertwine and how they connect over the years. And you might be thinking, like, who are you to even talk about this stuff? Well, I'm not supremely qualified, but I am a musician. I've been playing in a band for a number of years, and I am a referee, and I've done ring announcing and stuff. So I've been around the business for a few years, and I've been around music for a few years. So I like to think I know a little bit about both things. And if you don't think I know enough, I don't care. Too bad. Don't listen. What do you want me to tell you? So you know what? Today we're talking about metal. And I thought it would be a good one to kick it off because it's a pretty straightforward. There's been a lot of intertwining of metal and pro wrestling over the years. And I think you can right off the bat, the first one you're probably going to think of is Limp Bizkit. They were popular at a time that WWE was kind of in that attitude, same arena of uh, personas, I guess you want to call it. And Limp Bizkit fit right in. And obviously they did Rollin' for the Undertaker. They performed at multiple shows, and if I'm not mistaken, Fred Durst was actually a playable character in a couple of WWE games, which I think was maybe part of the deal with doing the music. I don't know, but that was the first one that came to mind when I started looking into the research and just kind of thinking back to the stuff I remember. And being a WCW guy right away, I started thinking of the Misfits. Now you could argue Misfits are maybe more punk, but they're a little bit of both, I would say. That's one of the things about metal. I mean, if you're a metal fan, it's been around for a number of years now. You could argue since the 70s, 80s, and it's streamed into so many different genres of everything from post melodic metal to death metal that's on whole other levels. And I enjoy a lot of it. I'm a metal guy. I appreciate it. I don't hate it. I just appreciate it. But I do hate Limp Bizkit though, so there you go. I hate everything. Going back to the Misfits, that's something you can hate because there was a couple of months where they had a run in WCW and they were working. They were doing stuff with Vampiro because for some reason he thought I had a bunch of clown painted dudes. I'm gonna take a break from them and go to these white face painted dudes. Made sense, I guess, at the time. But you had like Jerry Only and Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein. Like if you know the Misfits, they're large men. All right, they're big men. That's for sure. Uh, but the work was I don't know if they trained them or what, but it was terrible. It was not a memorable crossover when you think of things like that. But you can go back even further, like Metallica, love them or hate them, they've had a pretty big relationship with WWE over the years, and you could even argue ECW, who didn't give a shit about paying royalties or anything like that. But we all know Sandman was using Enter Sandman, and even back in the day, Sting used to use Seek and Destroy, which is kind of cool if you go back to the really early WCW stuff. There's another very obvious one, and again, you could consider it punk, you can consider it metal, but Motorhead. We all know Motorhead because we've heard Triple H, The Game, and King of Kings a million times over. He went to Lemmy's funeral, if I'm not mistaken. Triple H has always been a big fan, and when you're at that level, you can pay to get your own song done. Uh, Certainly on the indie level, it's a little bit different. You can't afford those kind of big royalties and stuff like that. But when you're Triple H, you can get that done. But I mean, he's not the only one. I think I was most surprised how much Killswitch Engage had in the arena of pro wrestling. I knew obviously that Seth Rollins was a big fan. He's a big fan, back in the Tyler Black days, and when he was teaming with Merrick Braves, Black and Brave. They had Killswitch songs, and he had them do other stuff. Killswitch has done B.J. Whitmer, Roderick Strong, um, excuse me, a ton of themes, and including like themes for actual WWE shows and pay-per-views. They really have done a lot of stuff. So that was pretty surprising to me, but also not surprising because they got a great energy with their stuff, and they kind of get what pro wrestling and music, maybe they don't get it, but we get what they're sending out, and it jives with pro wrestling with that hardcore energy. So uh, I've always liked Killswitch Engage. I just didn't realize that they did this much stuff with wrestling. And we can also look at Avenged Sevenfold. I believe they did. Oh gosh, I gotta remember now. Avenged Sevenfold did something, and also, God, that's gonna bother the shit out of me. I know Avenged Sevenfold did something. We can look at more recently. I remember I popped, like, regardless of what you think of Phil Anselmo, it was pretty cool to see Rob Van Dam come out to Walk by Pantera on AEW, and I know a lot of wrestlers have used Pantera stuff maybe on the indie level. Looking at Down, which is a side project, I know Matt Justice is a big Down fan. One of his merch is kind of a play on a piece of Down merch, and he's come out to Lifer by Down, which I've seen him do. Uh, great, great stuff with that crossover because it just fits. Especially if you know Matt Justice, it fits. It fits the guy. All right, and AEW. We're talking about AEW. We got to talk about Andy Williams from Every Time I Die. They're no longer together, but he was wrestling and in a band, which I think is super cool. And I know he's not the only wrestler to have done that, to be in a band and be a pro wrestler, but it's hard to do that double duty. I mean, we could talk about Chris Jericho, but I don't really consider Fozzy metal or music, so I'm not gonna bring them up because I hate Fozzy. I hate everything, especially Fozzy. Drowning Pool, not the most popular metal band, but you know what? They got some songs on WWE, so good for them because that's a payday, right? And it's more what's the word I'm looking for? It's more exposure, right? Like if you're a band, you get a lot of fans who maybe never heard of you before. They see you on a WWE show, they dig it. You're selling more albums. It's a win-win. I can't think of anything else. I just blew through everything I could think of. But the thing with with metal is it's always kind of been about aggression. Sure, some of those offshoots and stuff they're not, but like early heavy metal, especially you look at the early thrash stuff, it was all about aggression. And what is pro wrestling but combat? Whether you want to call it simulated combat or not, there's aggression. So it just goes together really well, and that's why you've seen so many wrestlers who, whether it's been in-house stock music or they've used something that's already there, have gone that route, that genre for their entry music because it pumps the crowd up, right? You want something on your entrance that's going to hype the crowd up, and that usually does the trick. Um, as far as this episode goes, that's it. I'm keeping them short and sweet, talking a little bit, and then we're going to move on. We're going to put out some more episodes. I'm going to be talking about different genres and different situations. And yes, the rock and wrestling connection and all that good stuff. We're going to get there. So to keep tuning in. You're going to hear more from me. And that's it from Uncle Bobby B today. Take care and keep hating.
Subscribe now for more content and combat sports discussions.
This is the law. This is the law.
RockSolidFanClub.ca gives you full access to Canada's leader in professional wrestling, featuring legends like Mick Foley, modern megastars such as Cody Deaner, and future sensations like Tyler Turva. RockSolidFanClub.ca offers exclusive series, podcasts, live streams, specials, and full events, all for less than $9 a month. Sign up today at RockSolidFanClub.ca, where real fans get it.